Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Safe Zone podcast, or welcome back to the Safe Zone podcast for my loyal listeners. My name is Brittney. I'm a mental health guidance specialist, and I'm also a meditation guide. And we are here in this safe space, this Safe Zone podcast, to educate ourselves, to empower ourselves, and to talk about mental health, things that influence mental health, things that help us get good mental well-being, all of that jazz. Every episode is designed to focus on a particular tool, a particular perspective, something that I think is valuable and important to mental health on the whole. Today's episode, episode 6, we are understanding self-esteem. Why am I bringing up self-esteem and why do I think this is important? Firstly, self-esteem is linked to everything. Self-esteem is linked to your emotional intelligence. Self-esteem is linked to your communication style, whether you're submissive, assertive, or aggressive. Self-esteem is linked to relationships, platonic, friendship, romantic, parent, co-worker, you name it, self-esteem has a role to play in it. Secondly, I think that there's a lack of awareness around self-esteem. Where does it actually come from? When I ask you if you have low, medium, high, or high self-esteem, and you give me that answer, where does that answer actually originate from? And also, what actually influences our self-esteem? If I want to work on my self-esteem, what are things that I can do to boost it? And what are things that would have happened in my life, things that I had or didn't have that would have worked against and broke down my self-esteem? So I think there's a lot of a lack of awareness, not that there is a lack of information, but there's a lack of awareness around those things that influence self-esteem. And I also think self-esteem, and not just for me, my perspective, good old Maslow, for anybody that came across Maslow's hierarchy, I will put up an image to depict Maslow's hierarchy. From Maslow's perspective, if we want to reach pinnacle, self-actualization, we need to work on self-esteem. Maslow's hierarchy says that every human has basic needs, and we have to satisfy the bottom level, then go up to that level, then the next level, then the next level. We cannot jump. We cannot not satisfy one level and expect to achieve the needs that are in the other level. And self-esteem is the second to the top. To reach self-actualization, that pinnacle of all your needs are met, you are able to become your best version, you are able to fulfill all your purposes, you have to sort out your self-esteem. So those reasons are why I think it's important to discuss what we're going to discuss in this episode. What do you all have to expect in this episode? We are going to talk about what exactly is self-esteem by definition. We're going to discuss where does self-esteem come from. We're going to talk about some research-based influences to self-esteem. And as usual in these episodes, I always want to give you all some tips, some things that you all can put into play and apply to your everyday life. So I'm going to give you all some tips as to how to boost your self-esteem. Yes? And if you have been here before, you'll know at the end, we do a little mini meditation, a little mindful moment, just to help let you leave this episode with a little bit more peace and calm with it. Yeah? So let's jump into it. What is self-esteem? Let's take it two parts. Self, identity. Who are you? Do you really know yourself? If your answer is yes, how much difficulty would you have listing 10 strengths and 10 weaknesses of yourself? How do you respond to those moments when we inevitably have to introduce ourselves to a group of strangers? Do you give your basic name, occupation, or school, and your age, and that's as much as you know of yourself? How many likes do you know? How many dislikes of yourself? Again, how many strengths? How many things that you are good at? How many things that you are working on, that you're improving on? To even begin to work on self-esteem, you have to start at self-awareness. You cannot value something that you don't know. Yeah? So, self in self-esteem deals with identity. Who am I? And esteem deals with value. So who am I and how much worth do I attach to that? What is the value of my identity, right? So self-esteem It's who am I and how much value do I place on that identity. Where does self-esteem come from? There's a few theorists that have studied self-esteem, and all of them kind of say the same thing. So I'm going to pull out two main theories to talk about those a little bit. First theory, Cooley's looking glass self. From Cooley's eyes, if I ask you, what is your self-esteem? Let's me pretend that I'm you. And I am looking at myself in the palm of my hand. And somebody asks me, Brittany, what is your self-esteem? And I go, oh, how do you feel about yourself? I go, let me see. Then I pull this looking glass that is made up of all the perspectives, opinions of every teacher, every parent, every aunt, every uncle, every classmate, every bully, every random stranger, every person on the internet that has ever made an opinion about me. I look through that glass and then I say, that's my self-esteem. So first theory, looking glass self, says that we do not actually look at ourselves. We don't actually form our own independent decision as to how do I feel about myself. Our answer to how I feel about myself is a combination of, well, this is how everybody feels about me, so this is how I feel about myself. I hope that gives some form of comfort to anybody with struggling self-esteem, with unstable, low self-esteem. Your self-esteem is not where it is because of you. It's your responsibility to build it now. And now that you're aware of that, you can actively, consciously begin to form your own opinion of yourself. But where your self-esteem is at this moment is not your fault. Second theory, reflected appraisals. Sullivan said that from the day you were born, whoever was in the room, your mom printed out her first opinion of you, the doctor, every aunt, every uncle, every teacher from preschool, primary school, every friend that you're even no longer friends with, every romantic partner, every cousin, every sibling, every authority figure. You stack that paper, and when I say, what is your self-esteem or how do you feel about yourself? You go, hold on 1 second. Shh, that's how I feel about myself. So based on theory, people that have spent time researching where does this answer come from, where does self-esteem come from, they all say the same thing, that self-esteem is a puzzle piece made up of puzzle pieces given by everybody in your life. Again, I hope this provides some level of comfort, or at least relieves you from the responsibility that you have taken over where your self-esteem is at right now. Again, it's your responsibility to work on it and build it back up. We can't sit down and blame everybody for the rest of our life as to where we are, because we live in a day and age, thankfully, that we have information, we have tools, we have awareness to work on these things, right? So again, where does self-esteem come from? Our self-esteem comes from the opinions of people around us, and from opinions of people around us dating back from day one to this very moment. So if you have a bad self-esteem, if you have a low self-esteem, chances are you have been around people that have not boosted that self-esteem, that probably criticized you more than complimented you. And to give some compassion to those people, I can't give you what I don't have. So someone with high self-esteem will build somebody else's self-esteem. So if the people around you, your parents, your caregivers, your teachers, young people around you when you were younger, whatever, if they failed to show up for you properly and help boost your self-esteem, what does that say about their self-esteem? A little empathy. Broken people try to break other people. Yeah? We can have empathy with boundaries, so we can feel for them and we can feel sorry for the people that are trying to hurt us, because healthy, functional, happy people do not say those things or do not do those things. But don't let your empathy keep you too close to an unsafe person and then be vexed when you're bruised up. All right. Key influencers. What are things that influence our self-esteem? All of these things, again, are research-based items. Firstly, gender roles. Who do you think has higher self-esteem? A feminine female or a masculine female? And why do you think that's your answer. There is an answer. Same question. Who do you think has higher self-esteem? A feminine male or a masculine male? Now remember, gender roles has nothing to do with your sexual preference. Gender roles are characteristics, traits, personality traits, right? So who do you think has higher self-esteem? A fully feminine personality or a fully masculine personality? Research says masculine personalities will always score higher on a self-esteem scale than feminine personalities. Why is that? Feminine traits. What are those feminine traits? Submissive, stay quiet, 100% emotional, soft, no boundaries, be a lady, stay quiet, cross your legs, be seen, not heard, yada, yada, yada. If you have a personality that is fully feminine, then chances are you do not stand up for yourself. Chances are you do not have boundaries. Chances are you are very emotional to the point where you're debilitated by your emotions, right? If you want to look up more characteristics regarding what feminine and masculine characteristics are, I encourage you to just do a quick little search and you can find a list of feminine traits and masculine traits. So research says that masculine personalities will always have higher self-esteem than feminine personalities. Research also says the person that scores the highest self-esteem is a personality that is androgynous. An androgynous personality is a personality that has a mix of both feminine traits and masculine traits, because there are strengths of both of them. There is the strengths of the masculine traits: assertive, hardworking, dominant, strong, focused, goal-oriented, all those lovely stuff associated with masculinity. But there are also strengths of femininity. We have to be in touch with our emotions. We have to be open. We have to be good communicators. We do have to be soft. So if you want the highest self-esteem, I encourage you to begin to integrate your personality. Ask yourself the question, do I have a more feminine dominant personality or do I have a more masculine dominant personality? If your answer is that you have a more masculine dominant personality, do some research into feminine traits. What are feminine characteristics? And pull out 2 or 3 that you want to work on into your personality and bring into your personality, because again, we should all be trying to aim for highest self-esteem. So gender roles influences our identity. In the same space is gender. Do you know that if I study self-esteem amongst teenagers, amongst adults, amongst an Indian population, amongst a Chinese population, if I study it in Africa, if I study it in Europe, if I study it in the UK, it doesn't matter where I study it, what age, what culture, what geographic location, males will always score higher in self-esteem than females. Why is that? Now, the answer to that question, we can go on and on and on and on. There's upbringing. A male, when he's growing up, he is more, you're strong and you can do it, and go, you're strong, versus, no, don't do that, be careful, sit down, no, don't do that, you can't do that, you'll hurt yourself. Different types of programming, right? So there are lots of answers behind that. Beauty standards. Women have to do a whole long list of these things that are expected by us, by the most grisly and unruly part of the species. Men wash their face and go about their life. And now I'm not saying that all your men do have all your skin routine, and big up you all who have your skin routine, that this is not for your garden. But the reality is there are a lot of expectations, so much so that they are work environments. We're kind of moving out of it now in society, but there's still work environments that if you're a female, you are required to put on makeup and you are required to look a particular way. When you look at the dress code requirements for men, they're a lot less. So even those things. Now, aside from just random statements that back up the research-based reality that men score higher in self-esteem than female, there are 2 other important things, again, research-based, that back up this point. One gender prefers external validation. They need somebody to affirm what they're doing, see what they're doing, and support what they're doing for them to feel like what I did was done. So let's put it this way. Two people finish a race. One person is going to wait for external validation to feel proud of themselves. Unless somebody comes up to this person and says, you did a great job, I saw what you did, and I am so proud of you, only then will this person feel validated. And another person requires internal validation, just based on their own accomplishment and their own sense of pride. They don't need other people to tell them. Who do you think is person A and person B? Males or females? Who depends on external validation versus internal validation? Men require more internal validation. Men don't necessarily need, I'm not saying they don't appreciate it, and it's not going to boost their self-esteem, but they don't need someone outside to tell them that they did a good job, for them to feel like they did a good job. Whereas a female could do a great job, but unless someone from the outside sees it and acknowledges it, she herself is not going to feel that validation of her accomplishment without that external validation. So that's one research thing that backs up this whole male-female difference in self-esteem. And there's this other term I came across. I don't think it was last year. I think it was the year before. Male hubris, female humility effect. Hubris, I think I'm pronouncing that right. That is synonymous with pride or overconfidence. Male hubris and female humility effects speaks on the fact that men will always overscore themselves. They will think that they can do it fantastic. They may not even know how to ride a bike, but they will score themselves that they will be the best bike rider. And a woman, a female, who is skilled and knows how to ride a bike might underscore her abilities, even when she could do something. So men naturally think that they can do it, and they can do it great. They are overconfident. And females, even when they have the ability, have the capacity, and have the track record of success, they are going to be more quick to doubt themselves or give a humble answer and underscore their abilities. So two things, gender-based, that again influences the fact that men often score higher self-esteem than females. Family. Your family affects your self-esteem. Your parents affect your self-esteem. Your parents' relationship with each other. Children that come from households with united parents have higher self-esteem than children that come from households with broken parents. Your mother affects your self-esteem in one way. Her self-esteem affects yours. It kind of is a mimic. Her eating habits, her body ideals, her exercise habits are going to affect your body esteem. Her encouragement of your beauty, of your success, her example of a woman, how she speaks to herself, how she feels about herself is going to make an imprint onto you. Fathers have an even stronger impact specifically to their daughter's self-esteem. Your father's ability to affirm your beauty, to compliment you, to be respectful, to communicate well, and to be dependable. Dependable does not mean you can have a dependable father that did not live with you. If your father said he was going to do this, he was going to show up at this time, he was going to get this, and he did it, that is dependability. If you did not have these traits in your mother or in your father, then again, your self-esteem is now hampered. So your parents affect your self-esteem individually as well as a unit. Your parenting style is going to affect your self-esteem. Parents can produce adults, so children that grow into adults with low self-esteem, not only by being neglectful. Of course, that type of parenting is going to have a negative impact on self-esteem, for sure, we know that. But do you know that a parent can love a child too much and then produce children with low self-esteem? If you do everything for your child, you do everything for your teenager, Your teenager never learns how to resolve their own conflict because you're always rushing to rescue them and fix it for them. Your children never learn how to do life skills because you do everything for them because you just love them so much, and maybe your parents didn't do that for you, so you want to do all for your children. You are so worried about their protection and their safety that you are there hovering all the time, every day. Do you think that's going to produce an adult that shows up believing in their self and their capabilities and their strengths, that they can take care of themselves and handle what is out there? Or do you think that is going to produce an adult that knows they are not capable, they have to depend on people, they don't know how to even public speak because you always spoke for them, they don't know how to solve conflict, and they might even walk out there with a sense of entitlement and they expect everybody else to do for them what their parents did for them? So parenting style affects self-esteem. It can either build it or it can hamper it. Extended family. Every auntie that tell you something about your body, every uncle that make a comment about your lack of muscles, every cousin that you were compared to, every sibling that you were compared to, your comments of your elder siblings towards you, whether even if it was just stupid bullying or just siblings being siblings. You didn't think you had a big nose until your brother tell you have a big nose, and all of a sudden you think you have a big nose, right? So your extended family, your siblings, people outside of just parents also affect your also affect your self-esteem and even your sibling order. Elder siblings have a different level of self-esteem, middle children, and youngest. Very different self-esteem, very different mental health challenges or strengths, etc. Right? So far we covered gender roles, male, female, and family. Two more key influencers. School impacts your self-esteem. Your teacher, similarly to your parents. So a teacher's self-esteem makes an impact on their children, on their students' self-esteem. How your teacher teaches you. If they encouraged you to work independently, they positively reinforced you, they trusted you with leadership roles. Of course, your academic performance. Unfortunately, a lot of education systems are limited to maths and English, words and numbers. They have no subject for people that good at farming. They have a music class, but does it really cultivate a musician that doesn't understand numbers and doesn't really understand words? I always say, if you have dyslexia and you have dyscalculia, you are screwed, especially in the Caribbean education system, because every subject is based on words and numbers. So your academic performance affects your self-esteem. Your classmates affect your self-esteem, whether you were included or excluded. You were celebrated, you were bullied. How much you actually associated with your school. If you were like, that's my alma mater, I love my school, higher self-esteem. If you did not like your school, you did not feel that connection with your school, other ways that school impacts our self-esteem. And last, influencer. Now, of course, this is not all the influencers, but it's only so long I can make a podcast episode. So I kind of pulled out the major ones. There are other major ones as well. Yeah. Last one, coping styles. And we are not going to go into coping styles because that's what last episode was about. The whole episode we spoke about stress and healthy versus unhealthy coping mechanisms with some tips for self-care. Right? So if you want to learn more about coping styles, check that last episode either on YouTube or Spotify. What I would say is that the more healthy coping mechanisms you use, better self-esteem. The more unhealthy coping mechanisms you use, less self-esteem. The more you do things that help you approach a problem, find a solution, or take care of yourself or pour into yourself so that you can handle it, better self-esteem. The more you reach for things that avoid, that help distract you, that help numb you, or are more destructive, harmful decisions that bring more chaos into your mind, less self-esteem, right? And we are going to end off now with tips. Tips for boosting self-esteem. First tip, physical activity. Physical activity is research proven to improve your self-esteem. There's a little interesting note on that though. So, if you are physically active because you want to look good and you want to look snatched and you want to drop weight or just kind of aesthetic reasons, your self-esteem goes up. It does regardless. Now, if your reasons for physical activity is because I want to be able to move when I am old, I want to live a long life, I understand that physical activity has a lot to do with my mental health, and I have other reasons aside from just aesthetic purposes for physical activity, your self-esteem goes up even more. So either way, your self-esteem, once you are being physically active, is going to increase, but your reason and motivation affects just how much it increases. So physical activity, research-based, is going to boost your self-esteem. Yes, more physical activity, higher self-esteem. Key life skills that are important and correlated to self-esteem: emotional intelligence and assertiveness. A person that has low self-esteem has low emotional intelligence and they do not have good assertiveness. A person that has high self-esteem has high emotional intelligence and is very assertive. So you can take it from the route of, I am going to work on my self-esteem, and by proxy, your emotional intelligence is going to increase and your assertiveness is going to increase. Or you can take it from the other route, and I am going to do a course on emotional intelligence. I'm going to work on emotional intelligence. I'm going to attend an assertiveness training session or a workshop. You are going to walk away with not just assertiveness, you're going to walk away with boosted self-esteem as well. Yeah? So they go hand in hand. Third, more self-awareness, because like we mentioned in the beginning when we covered what self-esteem means, you cannot feel good about something you do not know. And you aren't going to just magically understand yourself. You have to spend quality time. The same way you're not going to understand and know somebody without investing that time, undivided attention, speaking to them, spending time with them without distractions, asking questions, waiting for the answer. You have to do that for yourself as well. The more you know yourself, the less you care what people think and say about you. I'm going to just repeat that one more time. Let me just take a little sip of water to make sure that it's clear. Hold on. The more you know yourself, the more self-awareness you develop, the less you care what people say about you and their opinion begins to be devalued. The less you know about yourself, the more you really care and are really bothered as to what they say. Self-awareness is not just all the good things and all my strengths. Self-awareness is also, what are the areas that I need to improve? Do you understand your mind? What do you think about often? What are often emotions that you feel? What are some emotions that you could control, emotions that you can't control? What are your triggers? What about your body? How does anxiety feel in your body? Where do you hold tension? What are particular things that make you feel anxious or uneasy? I've noticed for me, when I don't eat, my worst case scenarios go crazy. It's something I noticed that when I skip a meal or I don't eat lunch, my mind is going to be a lot more anxious and nervous. I've also noticed I can't mess with coffee ridiculously anymore. So if I am going to drink another cup of coffee, then I am also going, hello anxiety, welcome to the chat. Right? So learning about your mind, learning about your body, learning about your soul. What do you believe in? Do you believe in anything? Do you feel like you can't learn about other religions or spiritual perspectives? What is your opinion? What do you think God thinks about you? What you think about yourself and your relationship to yourself has a really similar look to what you think God thinks about you and what your relationship with God is. I'm not saying it's the same thing, but the roads look very similar. If you don't like yourself, I don't think you think God likes you. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. What builds your faith? What builds your faith? Who are the people that when you walk away from them, you feel like you can take on the world and you are capable and empowered? And who are the people that make you feel doubting? What are the activities, the spiritual habits that pour into your peace and help you feel calm and grounded and give you clarity and focus amidst all the things that are happening around you? Self-awareness is important, and you're not going to just learn yourself just like that. In my private sessions, when I'm doing self-awareness, I ask a tricky question. How much out of 100% do you think you can know someone by just sharing space with them? You cannot talk to them, you cannot interact with them, you can just observe them and share space with them. I have not gotten any percentage from my clients that was above 50%. Everybody agreed that if you can't speak to someone and you're not interacting with them, you're not spending that quality time, then I could really only know a oomph of you. And that goes hand in hand with self-awareness. You could be 30 years old, but if you have not actually spent time with yourself and asked yourself questions, you're going to be a 30-year-old that knows about yourself. Because there's only so much you can know about yourself without that actual quality time and engagement and seeking those questions. Second to last tip for boosting self-esteem, your self-talk, another research-based factor that influences our self-esteem. If you talk mean to yourself, negative to yourself, harsh to yourself, you're your biggest critic, that is going to have a negative impact on your self-esteem. If you are able to speak kindly to yourself, to have compassion, to make a mistake and go, oh gosh, girl, how you do that? Instead of, are you so stupid, how you could do that? That's why nobody like you. Your self-esteem, your self-talk is going to impact your self-esteem regardless what it is, whether it is positive or negative. Make use of that. Don't careless, stop the careless name calling. Stop the careless bashing yourself. You bad talking yourself for the past hour, not fixing anything. All it's doing is mashing up your self-esteem. You forcing yourself, because sometimes the positive affirmations start off feeling delusional. I am beautiful, and I am strong, and I am capable. Okay. You have to start somewhere. The more you tell yourself something, the more the mind builds those memories and those truths and believe them. Your brain only believes what it hears over and over. If you have only heard negative things about yourself, that's why you only think negatively about yourself. If you start talking positively to yourself often enough, you're going to actually start to believe those things. So, again, when we covered theorists and what theory says makes up self-esteem, it spoke a lot on people's opinions. People's opinions form what you think about yourself. What you hear people say about you affects what you think about yourself. Don't you think that applies then to the person's voice that you hear more often than anyone, which is your own self? And last tip, compliments. Complimenting yourself and complimenting other people and receiving compliments. People that have low self-esteem have a difficult time receiving compliments. You tell them something nice about themselves and they go, what are you talking about? That's not true. Okay. Or they quickly deflect and, no, you are pretty. No, you are nice. No, you are good at. Force yourself. Thank you. Or if you want to ask a question, thank you, but what do you mean by that? What do you mean you like this about me? What exactly do you mean by that? Giving compliments and receiving compliments. Compliment people. You see something that they did that you like, compliment them. You want to make it a physical compliment them on their style, on their face, on their body, on their muscles, on their posture. But there are also other compliments like the way you spoke, your confidence, your bravery, your humor, your work ethic. Compliment people. Pour into them. It is going to help boost your self-esteem. And again, start receiving compliments more often. So that is all for the content for this episode on understanding self-esteem. I'm going to insert now some recommended journal prompts or home assignments, if you want to call it that. I do this for every episode. I leave some things that you all can journal on or think on or work on between episodes. I'm going to attach this now, put this up on our screen now. And as promised, time for our mindful moment. If you are driving, if you are not in a place where you can take that moment and take your attention away from around you and bring it within, then pause this podcast and come back to it later, come back to it before you go to sleep, come back to it when you have that pocket. If, however, you do have the pocket to do that, then join me. Bring yourself to either a seated position that you are comfortable in or a lying down position. Just get comfortable. Bring your spine as upright as possible. If you are sitting down, if you are lying down, get as comfortable and relaxed as possible. I invite you to close your eyes. Before we practice a self-regulation tactic, I want you to check in with yourself. Find a word or a phrase that captures how your mind feels right now. What's going on in our brain? How does it feel? One word or a phrase. Same thing for your body. How is your body feeling right now? One word and a phrase, or a phrase. And your soul. One word or a phrase that captures how your soul feels. Beautiful. Now I want you to bring your awareness into your breathing. Just notice your breathing. Notice the pace of your breath. Trying to guide your inhales and exhales through your nose. Keeping that mouth closed, no tension, no grinding of your jaw. Relaxed jaw, relaxed facial muscles. Eyes closed, breathing in and out throughout your nose. We're going to practice something called resonant breathing, which is simply matching your inhales to your exhales. If we breathe in for 3 seconds, we're going to exhale for 3 seconds. We're going to start with a 3-second count. Then we're going to move to a 4-second count. Then we're going to move to a 5-second count. And then we're going to move to a 6-second count. So allow yourself to relax wherever you are, pacing yourself as we continue to extend our breath. Trying not to hold any tension in your body. Notice your shoulders, notice your jaw, notice your hands, notice your feet. All right. Exhale wherever you are. Inhale into your nose, into your belly for 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 3, 2, 1. One more time. 3, 2, 1. Inhale and exhale. 3, 2, 1. We're going to 4 now. Inhale through your nose for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale through your nose for 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Last round with this count. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Extending to 5 seconds. Inhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last rounds. Inhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last one. We're going for 6. Inhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And last round. Inhale for 6, 5, 3, 1. Exhale for 6, 3, 2, 1. Return to normal breathing, staying where you are. Going back to that check-in, bring your attention to your mind. One word or phrase that captures how your mind feels now. If it's the same word, who cares? Just do a check-in. What about your body? How does your body feel now? And lastly, how does your soul feel now? When you are ready, very slowly fluttering your eyes open, taking your time. Thank you so much for sharing this time and space with me. I hope you learned something from this episode. I hope to see you or have you here listening again. Every episode is posted once a month, every month on the 11th at 11:11 a.m. Trinity time. If you have any requests, any suggestions, feel free to drop me a comment, drop me a message, any of those social media platforms. I would love to hear what topics that pique your interest, some things amongst mental health that you want to learn some more about. Yes. And again, thank you so much. It was lovely as usual, and I look forward to seeing you on here again next month. I hope you have a peaceful rest of your day or night, and only love and peace and calm and self-control and joy. All the goodness your way. All of it your way. Thank you so much for listening or watching. Reminders that these episodes will be posted on on both. Both Spotify as well as YouTube. Spotify has the audio alone. YouTube has video and audio. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for the millionth time. And I will see you all here soon again. Toodaloo!